Hello, konnichiwa. Hello, everyone. That was not gonna be the intro. I did this as if it were a stream. I force of habit. Um, Hi. So I this is gonna be a very messy video because it's not scripted, not anything. I'm just doing this on the fly. So today, my dear snowbats, is our 7th anniversary. Well, technically, technically, I think next month would be your third anniversary because I didn't really come up with a name uh for my audience until I did my 2.0 debut. But yeah, the point is that today the channel is 7 years old, which is I think I talked a little bit about it on stream. It is like an insane thing to say out loud because it feels like it hasn't been that long, but at the same time, like I've been here for a very long time. Like more than that. It's like I don't remember life before doing YouTube, sort of. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, but at the same time, it feels like I'm still finding my footing here, even after all this time. Especially because really, this started being my job more or less around a year and a half ago. So I think that's part of what contributes to it not feeling like it's been that long. But in reality, this all started way back in 2019. And I wanted to reminisce a little bit because I feel like I haven't really talked a lot about that. And yeah, I was going to say something else. I'm sleep deprived. I did not sleep a wink last night. Uh, and it wasn't, I am working on something for this 7 year anniversary that is not done yet. I still need to finish it. But it wasn't even because of that. I just couldn't sleep. I didn't feel sleepy and I just didn't sleep. So forgive me if my mind is a bit or very much scattered right now. But I was talking about this with some other people a couple of days ago about how the channel itself started March 3rd, 2019. Because it's when I uploaded my first video, but in reality, I had started this whole project since January of that year because I had already been thinking about whether I actually wanted to do it or not. Because originally, this whole project was just gonna be like a sort of portfolio for my musical theater endeavors back when I still was pursuing that. My idea was that this was going to be like sort of like a portfolio that I could show, like, oh yeah, I sing this and this and this and that. And but I wasn't still really sure if I actually was going to do it because I didn't feel really like very confident in it until I went to see one of the last screenings that they had in my city of Mary Poppins Returns with Emily Blunt. And like literally coming out of that movie, I went to the nearest tech store that was at the mall I was at, and I bought a $20 mic. At the time, it was a $20 mic. I don't know how much is it nowadays, but it basically a very cheap USB mic, and I had zero knowledge on how to record. Let alone mix, mastering, who, what, uh and uh and I had no idea how to video edit at all, like zero. Like I didn't have any knowledge. It really just started with a $20 mic and a dream. um I had no idea how I was going to record. I didn't know anything about like sound treatment. I'm still not an expert in a lot of these things, but I've had to learn along the way to use a couple of things. I do know like some pretty basic stuff because it's what I have to use for everything I do. But yeah, I basically just learned on the fly. And it also makes sense why I was able to produce at a time like over 20 covers in less than 2 months. And the only thing that stopped me was that I got sick. I do remember that I wasn't sure on when I was going to start yet. I just knew that I wanted to record as much as possible because that was also the year when I officially started college before before dropping out after a year, and then more like switching schools. I didn't fully drop out. I just switched schools during the pandemic. I switched majors. But I was gonna start a music school in college. I was gonna get a composer degree actually. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna have the time to do everything, but I really wanted to start. So that's why I started like recording like crazy. As soon as I figured like the basics of what blah 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 of what I was gonna use to record and edit and what it entailed, I just went for it. And I would record, I remember, like 2 to 3 songs every day. Like I was just recording nonstop. And then I had a Valentine's Day concert coming up, and like a week before I got sick and I had to get like a shot to be able to sing for that concert. It was a whole thing. I do remember that. I was still 17 now that I think about it, which is okay. I don't want to think about it anymore. I was still 17. Oh, I remember now. I had my first and so far only trip to New York during October of 2018, and that's what started me on the path of going full into musical theater, and the whole idea of making this as a way to start putting myself out there, but also as a portfolio kind of thing. And then the pandemic hit, and then everything went online, which I was already kind of used to, so it wasn't that different for me in that regard. But I remember I had just started taking like dancing lessons and acting lessons, focused on the whole musical theater thing, and then that had to be moved to like online through Zoom because of all of that. And I had plans that year to go see Beetlejuice, and then that got canceled, so I ended up not doing that. And if I'm really honest, if you were to ask me what was it like, or what I did for the first year or the second year or even the third, I don't remember. I was trying to put like a sort of timeline last night since I wasn't able to sleep, and I could not remember what went through my head at the time. I just remember that the school that I was going to ended up not being what I had expected. Or like right before, like a week before the pandemic truly hit, I had just applied to another university for another degree, which is the one that I finally got my degree from last month, actually. um, I don't remember really outside of that what I was doing for the channel, or if I had already scheduled a bunch of stuff because I had recorded a lot of stuff. And back then I wouldn't even add lyrics to the videos. It was just like blurry picture of the thing this song is from, with pretty decorations and filters and the title slapped in the middle. And that was it. Uh and I don't remember at which point I started actually adding lyrics, that I've like somewhat figured out how to do it on Hit Film, which is back then it was called Hit Film Express, the free version, and now it's only Hit Film. It's the one that I still use to this day, but I combine it a little bit now with DaVinci Resolve. And I still use Audacity to this day because I haven't really looked into any other DAWs, and I really should actually. But this is what has worked for me. So, and I didn't have a lot of time to really start learning new ones after I really got like used to these. Outside of like DaVinci is still one that I'm slowly learning, but I've been trying to use more. The lyric part with that one is the one that I'm like struggling with, but I think it has mostly to do with how used I am to hit film at this point, because it's been 7 years. And DaVinci I have been using on and off for like 3, I think, at most. So I really need to give myself the time to fully dive into everything I can do, maybe, to figure it out, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I started full musical theater and Disney covers, and actually the first cover I ended up recording was not even the first one I posted. The first one I posted was my cover of "It's Over, Isn't It" from Steven Universe. But the first one I recorded was actually Familiar, which ended up being, I think, my 4th upload, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember when I remember the date because at the time I said I'm gonna upload weekly on Sundays at 12 a.m. my time, and hope for the best. That was the pace and the schedule I had settled for myself at the time. I don't even remember what my reasoning behind it was outside of like, oh, Sunday is like my day free and most people's day like free day. So, uh, yeah, I think that was my whole reasoning for it. Later on, I think it was when I started switching to Saturdays. And then I started like alternating between Saturday, Sunday, depending on when I was able to upload, or when I was able to finish the video. And right now I'm doing Fridays, so who knows? I no longer have like a set schedule. It's still like mostly one video per week, with a few exceptions here and there. But there's not like a set day anymore. It feels like, and it also makes sense that I started having less and less um pre-recorded ready to post stuff because I started adding more production. I started like, again, I started with the whole adding lyrics and then color coding lyrics when it came to musical songs, like because there's a lot of characters and I make all of them and people who might not be familiar might be confused, and it was a whole thing. So I just like those first 3 years are a bit of a blur, but actually think I didn't grow much during those first 3 years. Um, and then it was on the fourth one that both everything started to grow a little bit faster, which that means it was 2023. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was during 2023 that everything started to like grow faster. And also it started to get really messy for me cuz what was I doing? I was in a musical production. No, actually it was 2022 when everything started like getting crazy. Now that I think about it, cuz I started being in a musical production like from workshop phase to actual show nights. We had like 3 different seasons of shows. It was a production of Fiddler on the Roof. But the point is, I was still doing college. I at that time I think I was in my 4th semester, and that year I started streaming. I remember now it started getting all messy in 2022 because that year I started streaming. I was in the workshop phase of this musical and I was still doing covers, and then on top of that I had college. And I don't remember if it was during that year or if it was at the end of 2023 where I finally had like a week, or no, I had like 3 weeks I think where I didn't upload anything because I had way too much on my plate and I was just going crazy. And I remember my mom told me like, you just prioritize school and then deal with everything else. And but I really wanted to prioritize the channel instead, but I ended up just prioritizing school because that was important. But it was one of those, yeah, it was at the end of 2023 when I had like it was the first time that I stopped uploading weekly for the channel, which is crazy because at that point it had already been 5 years. No, no, 4 years since the channel had started. And I think it was during either 2021 or 2022, probably 2022. No, no, I think I started like slowly introducing the idea of Japanese slash anime songs into the channel during sometime during 2021. Like I did only a few, and outside of that I still kept doing more musical theater and like pop songs and that kind of thing, and slowly started introducing like Vocaloid and some anime openings and whatnot. And then it wasn't until 2022 that I fully went into doing more covers of those, like Canaria covers and all of that. Some of them don't exist anymore because of the whole like copyright claim thing and monetization and all of that. So, but I do want to redo some of these. But yeah, it was during 2022 where I started like doing a little like I started mixing more between anime slash Japanese songs and musical theater. And then 2023, I think I went full in on that and very little musical theater. I'm looking at like at my YouTube page, and yeah, 2023 was like full anime, and I only see like 2 or 3 Disney slash musical theater stuff. And then come 2024 has been happened, and I did a bunch of that, and it started to look a little more like, oh no, then I started doing a lot of musical theater again because of Epic. That's right. Kind of forgot about that. But I think those two like help mix like bring like a little bit of balance in between the two things because of how many people from both communities like came together in those. And I remember I did a special cover of it's a Vocaloid song that's called Loading Memories, if I remember correctly. It's no longer on the channel, but that was like that's the point where I remember I started doing like, ooh, anniversary cover. But I don't remember if I actually did any of that for any of the first 3 years. I don't think so. But that's the moment I pinpoint like where I started doing that. And I think it also had to do with the fact that I had already started VTubing. So that's when I started introducing like that concept. I don't remember if I did anything for the 5th anniversary. I don't see anything that would like line up with it unless it's the road not taken. No, wait, I didn't. No, I didn't because I had planned my VTuber, like my 2.0 model debut. I remember now. The 2.0 model debut was supposed to be like the 5 year special, but it ended up getting pushed back because again, college. And because of that the whole rigging process had to be delayed because I was like slowly learning as I went, and I ended up not having enough time to finish it for the anniversary. But it came about a month, almost 2 months later, the new model and also the first lore video. That's why there isn't a 5th anniversary cover. It's because of that. Wow. But then the song that I had planned for the 5th anniversary, I ended up moving to my birthday, which was Fansa. Yeah, it's a song that I ended up adding for my birthday. I remember now, I had already started working on it with the whole new concept in mind and everything. But because I wanted to at least get the model out as soon as possible, I ended up focusing on that and then just left the Fansa video for my birthday. And alongside a second lore video. And then I think last year it's so funny because it wasn't until 2024 that I started working on my channel full time, because it's when I actually finished my it's when I finished my degree. It's when I technically graduated, but I didn't have my degree yet because that was that was the whole thing with paperwork and stuff that I had to deal with last year, and then culminated in me getting finally the paper that says, yes, you are a designer. By the way, I think I have never mentioned what I actually studied. I am a graphic designer. It wasn't until this year that I finally got the paper that says, yes, you studied 4 years and a half, and you are a graphic designer with a focus on multimedia and photography. So yeah, that's my degree. So yeah, it wasn't until then that I finally started to be able to focus on it full time, and also monetize it, and make it my try to make it my full time job. Where I started focusing on that, and I think 2024 was one of my most productive years, cover wise and music wise, because and I think also streaming wise, because I felt more present. It was also when my audience started to grow a lot more, and I think it was that year when we reached 1K in August, if I remember correctly, like right at the end of August, and then it just kept going from there. It did feel like my most prolific year, if you want to put it that way. Uh, I peaked, and and then 2025 came about, and right at the tail end, I was so conflicted because I was like, I can finally do this full time. But then I already knew that my family had plans, had planned, and by my family I mean more like my mom and I had made plans to go to Japan at the beginning of 2025. We had to travel to Japan. It had been something that we had been planning for years at that point, and saving up for. And so, come the end of 2024, I was stressed out of my mind because I had so many plans. I had also started doing my own instrumental, since when I started like try to make my own instrumental arrangements. Because I had found a music sheet for No Longer You from Epic, the music, which was technically my second Epic cover, but was the first one in regards to the whole Epic, the musical era that I had. And I was making like 4 or 5 different instrumentals for covers, and I had a whole idea for that cover I made of The Line from Arcane, and also the anniversary. But the problem was that I was not gonna be. I think I was gonna be home by the time the anniversary happened, but it was a Monday, and also I had just returned from Japan like 5 days prior, or how many days does February have? 28. Three. No, yeah, 5 days prior, I had just returned from Japan. I think I wasn't even home yet. No, I was already home, but I had just got home. I remember now. I had just got home the night prior to the anniversary, and I no longer remember what the plan had been proper, but it was the Last Cup of Coffee cover, and also I was supposed to do something stream wise, but I think I ended up not doing anything about it. Oh no, wait, I remember now. I can't talk about it yet. It's a whole other project that it's still not ready. I actually haven't been able to progress much on it this past year, but it's a whole other project that I can talk about yet. Sorry. That was the thing that I was supposedly gonna have ready by then. I think I streamed something simple, like just chatting or something, because I just did not have the energy. That trip was in equal parts one of the best things ever, and also stressful as hell for me because of a lot of stuff that happened in the way I am. I was under a lot of pressure and stress, so it was both very enjoyable, and also I was miserable during a good chunk of it. It sounds dumb, but it was how I was at the time. And then that this whole last year I felt really disconnected, because for starters I was a month away. I had planned to leave a bunch of stuff ready, like pre-recorded streams, like gameplay stuff. 4 or 5 covers I think I was planning to do, and then I ended up not being able to finish one of the in-between ones. So there was a week where there wasn't anything, like any content on the channel. And I no longer remember why, but because of all the it was probably because of all the preparations we had to do before the trip, that I ended up just not having the time to do everything. Because I was still doing like the regular covers and regular streams, and I just ended up not, on top of everything else, and I just ended up not having the time. So 2025 was definitely a weird year for the channel because of it. I think it's where there's been like more gaps, not long gaps in between videos, but gaps anyway, but where there were most gaps in between videos most times. Aside from the fact that I didn't stream in all of February, when I returned, it was a little hard to get back into the routine of everything. Not because of the trip, but because it felt like the algorithm wasn't really favoring me anymore. Epic had just ended as well, which did not help either with metrics and stuff. It was a whole thing. And then I think 2025 was also one of the, not the worst, but one of the worst years I've had mentally. The whole year was a mess in every sense of my life, and also the channel. It was really, for the channel it wasn't like bad per se, but it was a very unstable, weird year with that, and then the shadow banning thing, and then the copyright strike from Amazon thing when Hasbin came out. I also felt like I subconsciously, I sort of got a little bit disconnected from my audience. I just felt like I wasn't fully there. I did want to keep doing the things that I was doing, like recording, posting, all of that, but I was mentally, I was just not fully there. And when I was streaming, I would kind of forget about it for a little bit, but then after it would just come back. So it was not a very fun year all around. And so far this year has not painted itself to be a whole lot better, if I am gonna be quite honest. It has had its highs for sure, but it has also had some of the lowest lows so far. Personally, not necessarily on the channel personally, which is also why I've been a little out of the loop when it comes to streaming. And it's also been the year where I'm trying to reassess my priorities, and also what I want to keep doing and what I don't want to keep doing moving forward. Because it has come to my attention. It is pretty glaring that something has to change. Because of how everything has grown in production scale, the channel, all in all, it keeps growing, all despite everything that happened last year that kind of stunned me for a little bit. It has kept growing. I feel like I no longer can keep up the pace I have been keeping all this time. How the heck did I do it while I was doing college? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because now that I'm doing this full time, it's like sometimes it's even harder that to just do this and have time for life. Due to all of this as well, like the combination of everything, I started having health problems at the end of last year, which also made me realize that maybe overworking myself to the bone might not be worth it. And I also, more than anything, I think it's just that I have so many projects I want to work on, and so little time to focus on any of them. Because I feel like I have to keep grinding, I have to keep posting stuff, because otherwise the algorithm is gonna screw me over again and all of that. I think that's part of also what messed with me mentally a lot last year, because you have to make ends meet, and when YouTube for some reason is not cooperating with you, and you're trying everything to make it work, is just very stressful when your livelihood is on the line. So That also is part of a major part of what really made last year difficult, and I kind of stopped enjoying what I was doing for quite a while. I think only at the end of it, like mid December, I slowly started regaining some of that. And I want to keep regaining that because otherwise, why am I doing this? Otherwise, might as well just go find some other kind of job. But in reality, I don't want that. I want this to keep growing and I want to make it work. So something has to change. Now, this just took a bit of a grim turn, and that was not the intention with this at all. It was just to reminisce, and it sadly is because it's still fresh in my mind. But all in all, there's been more good things than anything in these past 7 years, and I've been able to grow closer with my community, which is one of the things that I am most grateful for. And the whole reason why I wanted to do this, I originally was just gonna like try to write a short sort of letter and post it on my community tab, but most people don't see that one, so I didn't want it to just be that. So I thought maybe recording an audio, which at this point is almost 45 minutes long. I'm gonna have to trim some parts, and I just, I guess, as a little treat on the day, because again I'm still finishing the cover, the special cover that I'm working on for this, to commemorate this joyous occasion of the channel getting older and me and me getting older in a way, even if it's not my birthday yet. I have learned quite a lot. I mean, I didn't know how to do any of this 7 years ago, and I have learned a lot during it, and it's been a fun ride so far, and I hope I can get to keep doing this as a living. And I have so many fun projects that I want to talk about, but I can't just yet because I need to actually work more on them. Because I have been like making some very very slow progress, but I really want to tell you, but I can't because most of them are not quite ready yet for me to show to the world. So there's a lot of things that I have planned that I want to do, that I have a full notebook full of little things here and there. But I think it's because of that as well that I also need to change the pace a bit, and I am still figuring out how to do that. I am still trying to. That's why I said, like, I feel like I have barely found my footing here, even though it's been 7 years, because things have changed. It went from like things going very slow but being sort of stable, I think the first 3 years, to the last 4 years being either this very fast paced growth to suddenly like halting, slow growth, and then again very fast growth. I think especially after that, my most popular cover, which is the the song Tanjiro's mom sings to him. I mean, to Nezuko. Yeah, that one, which I think it already reached 250k views, which is insane. Um, it was, I think that was the turning point for the channel, funnily enough, even though it was a cover that I put very minimal effort in, and I really didn't expect a whole lot of it. It was just a gift for my mom, really, because she was the one that I was like, I want the full version. I was like, is there a full version? I only know like the one verse from the anime. And so I looked it up and did all that, tried to I think that was the first time I actually attempted to try to like do an arrangement, but I couldn't figure it out, and so I just posted it like as a sort of a cappella thing, and here we are. And now also we, along the way, like at the end of 2024, it was when I started uploading stuff to streaming platforms. That has been growing steadily fast lately, which I'm very thankful for. We're almost at 3,000 monthly listeners and on Spotify, and I don't have the exact amount on Apple Music yet, but it's also like the analytics that they send me over email have been growing a lot, and I'm like, what? So I'm very thankful for that as well. So again, there's been a lot of good things. I think sadly they most times get overshadowed by the bad, but that's just mostly a me thing, because it's just things that are going on, because they're still happening on my personal life, and to an extent it inevitably sometimes permeates through. It has been so far a very wild 7 years, but all in all, I think I wouldn't change anything about it. I mean, we're doing pretty good so far, I think, and I can't wait to bring you guys more things. And one of those things is, if I get my shit together and properly start working on everything else, one of those things that I'm aiming for this year, it's original music. Because while I do have fun doing covers, I also want to make my own stuff. So we'll see. That is on the horizon. I just don't have like a set date yet. But I have been working on it, and I hope I can bring it to you soon. That and part of me wants to stream more, but then again, because time, it's gonna be a little hard. But I also do want to keep doing that, and we have a bunch of pending games that we need to play together. And yeah. Anyway, long story short, thank you for everything so far. I wanted to do this again, unscripted, just more on the fly, to make it more personal, even though I'm not recording myself this time, because I didn't really feel like it today, to be honest, after not sleeping. I wasn't really feeling it. But even without that, to make it a little bit more personal, more honest. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it from me for now. Hopefully, this thing I'm doing, this cover I'm working on, comes out on Friday. And I will also be doing a stream. I will not be streaming the rest of this week. I'm just letting you know at the end of this that I'm not going to be streaming the rest of this week until Friday. Because I don't have anything special planned for the stream. But I did I did think during my last stream, is like, it's my anniversary. I can do whatever I want. I can self-indulge for that one, and we're gonna be doing Nouvelette's story quest for that day. And also, I always say it, but I will say it again. If you guys want to like drop by, ask anything, about the last 7 years and that kind of thing, chat, chill, hang out. That is mainly what I want to do. So, yeah. You can drop by on Friday. It's probably going to be in the evening. So that's, if I remember correctly, time zones, 6 p.m. EST. Around that time. So, if you can, please go drop by. I will be making the waiting room soon, I hope. And yep. Anyway, guys. Oh, I know. If you made it this far, comment your favorite ice cream flavor. Yes. I will know. I will know if you made it this far by those comments. Yes. And the whole shenanigan, don't forget to like. And if it's your first time here, and for some reason this is your first video you're watching of me, hi, also subscribe. And check out my other stuff. I make a lot of covers and stream 2 to 3 times per week. So there's a lot of content that you can access. I think we have like over 700 videos, including shorts, in this channel now. So there's plenty of content in here for you to check out if you feel so inclined. It will help me a lot. And again, I have a coffee where you can support me if you want. And in that same coffee page, I have a shop where I have a bunch of silly wallpaper designs and other things that you can buy for, if I remember correctly, as little as $3, which in the end helps support this whole thing of making this my full, like, keep making this my full-time job, and make a living and eat. And and if not, there's also memberships where I should be uploading more stuff. If I'm being quite honest, I do feel like I should be giving members a whole lot more, but once again, time. So I will also be working towards doing better on that. But if you are interested, we have memberships, and if you do, those are also for as little as $3, if I remember correctly. And if you do get it, you get special emotes for commenting and live streams. So those are fun. And the more people join, the more emotes I can add. So that's also a thing if you're interested. And I think that's all I have to plug in. I think that's pretty much all I have to plug in. Anyway, guys, now for real. Before I keep on yapping, have a nice rest of your day, evening, night, wherever you live. Happy time zone. And I'll see you on Friday. Yeah. Anyway. Bye-bye, guys. Bye! Happy 7 years, snowbats. I don't call you snowbats enough. I feel the compulsion to call you chat. But you're technically snowbats. Yay! Well, no, technically you are snowbats. That's my fan name. Anyway, bye-bye, guys. Bye.